Standing tall in dark times. That is the thought today. If you have your Bible, go ahead and turn to 1 Kings chapter 19. I'm going to be reading the passage today out of the ESV version. If you have that, feel free to follow along. Follow along with whatever Bible that you have. I do thank you for watching us today. Appreciate your viewership. I'm going to hop right into it here. 1 Kings chapter 19 and verse 1. I'm going to be reading a good bit of this chapter, if not pages aren't turning. Most of the chapter we'll be reading, so just so you know. Verse 1 of 1 Kings chapter 19. Ahab told Jezebel all that Elijah had done, and how he had killed all the prophets with the sword, the prophets of Baal. Then Jezebel sent a messenger to Elijah, saying, So may the gods do to me, and more also, if I do not make your life as one. If I do not make your life as the life of one of them by this time tomorrow. Then he was afraid. So to give some context here, Ahab is king of the northern kingdom of Israel in this time frame. Jezebel is his wife. She is the daughter of a pagan king. She was a worshiper of Baal. The prophets in reference here in verse 1 are the prophets that Elijah had killed. He killed 400 prophets. If you go to 1 Kings chapter 18, it is probably, it's one of the best stories of Elijah. He just cleans house on Satan's worshipers, on Baal's worshipers, and just absolutely, stands firm for the Lord. It is a mountaintop experience. And what we're getting ready to read here it was a mountaintop experience in dark times. What I want to do, though, with this story, I don't want to read to you the peak experience. I want to read to you the moment after the peak of the story, when he kills all the prophets of Baal. And needless to say, Jezebel is not happy at all. She kind of wore the pants in that relationship. Ahab was an evil king, and he was a weak king. And she kind of had more say. You will find in most societies that deny God, that deny the way that he has set up family, the way that he has ordained for men and women to be, in the order of marriage, of relationship, of home. Usually when the wife is in charge of everything, it's going against God's order. And all that can happen is some kind of chaos. It could be organized chaos, but it will be chaos nonetheless. And you may not like to hear that, but that is the Word of God. Nearly every time throughout the Old Testament, this is just some food for thought. Nearly every time throughout the Old Testament where there is a time of weakness, a time of, darkness seems to be prevailing. Things just aren't going right. God's judgment is coming. There's a verse in Isaiah chapter 3 or 4 where God is basically saying, he's describing, through Isaiah, the time of Israel. And he talks about how that women and children rule over his people. That the men have been taken away. They're gone. The real men, those men of leadership, are gone. Nearly every time throughout the Old Testament, you will see a decline of masculinity. You'll see a decline of patriarchy, and it just seems as though the strong-willed men, the men of honor, the righteous men, it seems as though they have just vanished from the landscape. And it just looks like there's a lot less of them, and there's a lot more evil men. And evil men are always weak men. So back to our text as I get off that soapbox. If I do not make your life as the life of one of them by this time tomorrow. Now listen to this. This is Elijah after his incredible thing. After he kills all those prophets of Baal, he runs. I'm just going back and looking at this verse here. He runs before Ahab's chariot for I don't know, it was a long distance, a very long distance. Just completely full of the Holy Spirit, and it just quickened his physical body. But verse 3 of chapter 19, when he hears what Jezebel says, then he was afraid, and he arose and ran for his life. He ran in victory, now he's running in fear. Crazy, isn't it? And came to Beersheba, which belongs to Judah, and left his servant there. So he hightailed it down to the southern kingdom where she couldn't get him. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness and came and sat down under a broom tree. And he asked that he might die, saying, It is enough now, O Lord, take away my life, for I am no better than my fathers. And he lay down and slept under a broom tree. You gotta think, the guy just killed 400 prophets. He ran an incredible distance. Like I'm talking, it was more than 10 miles. I'm pretty sure. I mean, he's he's had the peak moment, and now the emotions are dropping, and he's crashing. And man's tired. Let's give him a break here. And he lay down and slept under a broom tree. And behold, an angel touched him and said to him, Arise and eat. And he looked, and behold, there was at his head a cake baked on hot stones and a jar of water. And he ate and drank and lay down again. Can you imagine? I bet that was the best water. And, the best, basically some type of bread. It says a cake. It must have been probably, it was what God was doing to nourish his physical body. Kind of reminiscent of the disciples when Jesus is cooking them breakfast nearby the sea. And he ate and drank and lay down again. And the angel of the Lord came again a second time and touched him and said, Arise and eat, for the journey is too great for you. And he arose and ate and drank and went in the strength of that food 40 days and 40 nights to Horeb, the mount of God. And there he came to a cave and lodged in it. And behold, the word of the Lord came to him. And he said to him, What are you doing here, Elijah? He said, I have been very jealous for the Lord, the God of hosts, for the people of Israel have forsaken your covenant, and thrown down your altars, killed your prophets with the sword, and I, even I only, am left, and they seek my life to take it away. It's like, God, I'm at the end of my rope here, man. I've done it all for you. I killed 400 prophets of Baal, of the false god, and now the Ahab's wife's trying to kill me, and I mean, man, I'm the only one left. There's nobody else, God. Everybody else that could have stood up and killed them prophets, and I'm the one that did it. I am left. Verse 11, and he said, Go out and stand on the mount before the Lord. And behold, the Lord passed by, and a great and strong wind tore the mountains and broke in pieces the rocks before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind. And after the wind, an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake, a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire, the sound of a low whisper. King James says a still small voice. Verse 13, and when Elijah heard it, he wrapped his face in his cloak, and went out and stood at the entrance to the cave. And behold, there came a voice to him and said, What are you doing here, Elijah? He says it again. He said it in verse 10, I was going to say it in verse 14. Still saying the same thing. God just is kind of showing him, like, I'm here. Behold my power. I'm here. Verse 14, he said, I have been very jealous for the Lord, the God of hosts. For the people, hosts would be a word for like armies, the God of heaven's armies. For the people of Israel have forsaken your covenant, thrown down your altars, and killed your prophets with the sword. And I, even I only, am left, and they seek my life to take it away. And the Lord said to him, Go return on your way to the wilderness of Damascus. Right back up into the northern kingdom. He's probably like, God, I came down here to Judah to kind of catch a break. Yeah, the southern kingdom isn't as bad as the northern kingdom. I came down here for safety, and you want me to go right back up to where I came from. God, what in the world are you doing? But, when the Lord tells you to do something, you better listen. And he says, And when you arrive, you shall anoint Hazael to be king over Syria, and Jehu the son of Nimshi you shall anoint to be king over Israel. Now, basically what God is telling him is, he's like, look, I've heard what you're saying. Like, I know what my people are doing, Elijah. I know you've been through it. But look, this is what I want you to do. You've rested. I had my angel literally prepare you heavenly food. And, probably give you the most refreshing water you could ever drink. So he's basically telling him, I have a plan. I know it looks dark. I know it looks bad. I've got a plan. You've rested. You've eaten. You've drinking. Get a hold of yourself. Go back up there. You are my man. You are the man that I'm using right now. You are the man. So you go be the man, and you pick yourself up and start marching on again. It's literally what he's telling him. And so Hazael, just to give you that would make this video way too long. To give some context, this king that's going to be king over Syria, I believe he's going to fight Ahab in battle. Jehu, the son of Nimshi, he's going to be a very good king. He's not perfect, he's got his own faults. But he goes and kills a lot of the house of Ahab and Jezebel. I can't remember if he kills Jezebel or not. He might kill Jezebel. And then Elisha, that's what we're going to read next here. You shall anoint, and Jehu the son of Nimshi you shall anoint to be king over Israel. And Elisha the son of Shaphat of Abel Meholah you shall anoint to be prophet in your place. So this is what God tells him. And the one who escapes from the sword of Hazael shall Jehu put to death. And the one who escapes from the sword of Jehu shall Elisha put to death. Listen, sometimes God's prophets has got to pick up a sword too. Hey. Can I get a hey man on that one? Verse 18, Yet I will leave 7,000 in Israel, all the knees that have not bowed to Baal, and every mouth that has not kissed him. Some translations say, I have reserved 7,000 in Israel. Notice that number there, 7,000. The number of perfection. There's 7,000 people in the northern kingdom of Israel that are pure to God. He's telling him, look, And that's basically the reading here. But he's telling them, look, Elijah, okay. Number one, it's not just you. You're not the only guy left. That I still got 7,000 more ones here that are pure, that have kept my ways. They seek me. You got to also keep in mind, these 7,000 didn't necessarily have a way to offer sacrifice to God, because the God's prophets have been killed. If you know some of the history, the Northern Kingdom does not have a valid priesthood. They've ordained people to the priesthood that should not have been. They were not Levites. A lot of things. We could do a series on that, like the parallels of the Northern Kingdom of Israel and pretty much the Church of the West today, of America and Western countries, Canada. A lot of parallels there. Pretty scary. But he's telling them, look, there's 7,000 pure ones left. I have kept them. I've got 7,000 left. They're good. You're not the only one, and I've got a plan here. I'm going to fight this battle like I always do. You're going to go and appoint this man to be king over Syria, over a nation that is not God's. They're not God's people. Syria, they're going to be, there's a lot of Gentiles there. But God is going to use them to judge the apostate ones of the northern kingdom. The ones that's turned from God, the ones that's legislating evil, the ones that is bringing all these things about. You read what the prophets of Baal were doing. They're cutting themselves. To do yourself harm and worship of a god, that's signs of pagan idol worship. To do that, the northern kingdom, God is telling him, look, I know it's bad. I know that it's bad. I know what they've done. But you're going to go and do this. You're going to anoint Jehu. Jehu is going to do what you could not do. And he's going to go clean house some. He's going to go and purge the land of these evil people. And, you're not no spring chicken no more. Obviously, look at how the toll that this last thing took on you. And so you're going to be training your the next prophet after you. After you're gone, Elisha will be here. And, you're going to train him well, and he's going to do some things. So he's just telling him, look, Elijah, I know it's bad, but don't look at everything to the point to where you're practically useless. Do not let the view of how bad everything is paralyze you. Get your wits about you. Get up and keep marching on. And I'm sure when Elijah probably went back up through Israel, God kept him safe from Jezebel's minions, but I'm sure there was people's like, where have you been? He's going up the road and going through a village, and they're like, where you been? We've been looking all over for you. They've been looking all over for you. Where'd you go? Oh, well, I went. What, you ran away? He's probably like, I don't have to talk to you right now. I'm on God's mission. People's probably looking at him like, okay, well, what the heck? This doesn't make any sense. How can you do something so amazing? And then you run away like a coward and, pass out under a tree and sleep for forever. Now you're coming back. What are you doing? There's a critic everywhere. So, I'm sure he had a lot of critics. But he goes and does what God told him. And after Elijah's gone, God's plan still goes forward. Every generation, God has a remnant of people in every generation. Even when that remnant looks like it's getting kind of small. Right now in America, we're going through a massive, well, I don't know. I would say in some places, yeah, we are going through a revival. I've heard stories of how the churches that are pretty good sized churches, kind of, the stereotypical modern, non-denominational evangelical church, it's pretty good size, holds a lot of people. I've heard stories of how that ever since what happened to Charlie Kirk a couple months ago, I've heard that these churches are just busting at the seams. People are getting baptized. People are coming to Christ. Yeah, it's amazing. That's wonderful. And as long as they're in a good church, I'm sure God is using this to His glory, as He always does. And there is a lot of false revival going on. Satan never wastes a good crisis, that's for sure. And, there's a lot of people that, I don't know, I hope they don't have false salvation, but, could be a thing. Satan's agenda, his time is limited. We know that. If you're a Christian, you know that Satan's days are numbered. And so, therefore, his plan is numbered. And the evil that he works is also numbered. But let's be real here. Sometimes I get paralyzed by the view of how bad everything is. I don't try to put up negative, sad, ranting videos, angry videos, or boo-hooing about how bad everything is. I definitely could. I'm always researching something, and geez. But on the flip side, just like God told Elijah, and God knows us. He made us. He knows that from time to time we'll get weary. I just lost my granddad. My wife is more stable, but the stress and the worry, the constant worry, of my wife's sickness, and so many things. There's times where I don't throw in the towel, but I just kind of want to sit and chill for a while. Like, I want to crawl up under a tree, have an angel come and give me some food and some water. It's like, man, I don't know if I can take it much more. And though, it's just like with the disciples at the end of the book of John, when Jesus is making them breakfast there on the shore. And they had walked away from him, and times looked tough, and everything looked dark, and they're having a hard time standing tall. But they come walking up, and Jesus is making them breakfast. Isn't it a wonderful feeling when you feel like God is taking care of you, literally, personally taking care of you? It is a wonderful thing. It's like God knows when you can't take much more, and it always feels like His spiritual renewal comes at the times that you need it most. And I'm thankful for that. I don't know what you're going through. As hard a times as I feel like I've had, I know that there's many out there that's got it a lot worse than me. Hey, if you're a Christian, maybe your beliefs aren't identical to mine, but if you are genuinely following Jesus Christ, and you are walking the road He has placed you on, then you know something, you and me are in this together. And take a rest. Lay down under the tree. If you are close to the tree that is Christ, and you're nearby him, and you just gotta just take a chill pill and just sit down and rest for a while, do it. Do it. Let God renew your spirit. Let him feed you. Let him quench your thirst. He is there for us. He's not this mean, grumpy dad that you feel like you can't ever please. It's not like that at all. He is good and the lover of mankind. He loves us, and he's there to take care of us. But he's also there to give us a pretty good nudge. Hey, all right, you've rested. I've nourished you. Time to get up and get going. You got to do my will. You are the one for the hour. You're the man for the hour. You're the woman for the hour. Whoever you are, and whatever God has put you in. Once you've rested, you better be ready to get back up and start marching. And just know that, if you got an angel that's God using to make you food, and he is the Lord God of hosts, he'll take care of you. So stand tall in dark times. But I got news for you. You're only going to be able to stand the tallest when you worship God. You will stand the tallest before men when you are not afraid to be on your knees before God. If you need a Bible, if you need prayer, need encouragement, please don't hesitate. Drop us a comment. Send us an email. bluecollarbibleman@gmail.com. reallifeheavenlychurch@gmail.com. Thank you for watching. So much thank you for watching. We appreciate your prayers. And I don't know about you, but as for me and my house, we will and we do serve the Lord. You need to choose this day whom you will serve. God bless you. Stand tall in your dark time.